Welcome to Podcaster Toten. My name's Rad,
Matt.
Hello, I'm Tech.
and today we're doing a list of some plot threads that got dropped in Zombies, and we're gonna kind of talk about how we'd fix them. How would we connect it all? So, let's talk about the first one. Matt, didn't you had an idea, something about the Shadowman and Monty, right?
Yeah, that was the first, I think, plot point in that has been irking me since Black Ops 3. No, where who is Monty and what his relation is into the Shadowman, and a lot of it has been left up to speculation, like whether they were the same being, were they split into two? Was one a keeper? Were they both keepers and one was corrupted, one's not? Who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy? I think that's something that Tag really left, and just Black Ops 4 in general, really left on a cliff note that has been up to speculation, especially with the whole the whole quote from Revelations about Monty being the devil. It seemed like they were headed somewhere.
Yeah.
And that never got explained.
Yeah, dude, from the beginning, there was so much fun in the community debating exactly, how seriously do you take his quotes on, I guess I'm thinking of one on omnipotency, but I forget exactly when, he said that, or, just so much fun debates on okay, as we've come to learn, is he more of a messenger figure? Is he actually kind of a leader figure? There was so much fun. And I know, Rad, we've talked before, right? Monty would be beautiful if you could just bring him in a little earlier,
Right.
for the community. But
Right.
but yeah, at the beginning it was at least it was fun.
And I feel like since Black Ops 3, I've been kind of wondering who he is and how he's related to the Shadow Man. You have the idea of they were the same being and split into two. There's the worm quote. I always kind of like the idea that if he is the devil, that maybe he's been wheeling and dealing souls since the beginning of time, and the Apothicon, or the whatever the keepers were before they became the Apothicons, they were his first victims, and that was their relation. That's always my throwaway, but I would really like if Call of Duty would address that. That's my go-to. I think that's the biggest cosmic question in the series: is Monty and the Shadow Man. Are they good, evil?
They're both
What are they?
squiddy dudes, so
Yeah.
I like it.
equally corrupted, I guess.
Yeah.
I like it. Rad, take us away with your, I believe it was on the legend Romero.
The man, the myth, the legend, George Romero.
Mhm.
Yeah, so there's a quote from Sally on Revelations, one of the radios. It's like she's his assistant, and she talked about how he had all this research on alternate dimensions, time travel, and then on Ultimis. So I was thinking, I think you should expand on that more, his research, because it's so up in the air. What implications does that have? I'd like him to be a more important character. So I was thinking maybe in the 60s when he was starting out making movies, he somehow acquires a copy of Richthofen's diary from some friends in Broken Arrow or in the U.S. government. And from that, he kind of learns about, everything that's been going on with Richthofen. He knows about Shangri-La, Siberia, and he gets kind of corrupted by the ether. But instead of wanting to go to Shangri-La and go to Agartha, he instead wants to make the best zombie movie of all time. So his whole life, he obsesses over Ultimis, these four strange figures that are traveling through time, killing zombies. So he knows he knows from the, his corruption and the people in his head talking to him. He knows they're going to show up in Siberia, so he sets a movie up there just to catch them in the action. But really, he doesn't know they're going to get locked in a closet.
Oh,
And then
I like it.
from there, he gets, used as a vessel by the Apothicon blood, and then, all that Togner Toten stuff with the Apothicon blood. And that's why he's this invincible zombie god.
Now that I am into it. I almost thought you were gonna, where you started. I almost started thinking of, when he got the information from, the government, or maybe even Broken Arrow type thing. I almost thought too how the government and the Pentagon would use Hollywood for, for putting stuff out. So I almost thought wow, almost what if they made him here, put up the idea for the movie somehow, and I don't know why they would. There's a lot.
Well, yeah, it's perfect timing because Night of the Living Dead came out in 1968, and that was the first quintessential zombie movie, and that's right around the time of Broken Arrow. That's their heyday.
So the question is, did art imitate life, or did life imitate art? Like, did they see that he was making zombie movies and they're like, hey, this is the perfect person, or did he know all along?
This question. And we also don't know how much like publicly people know about zombies in 115. They should know a little bit apparently, but do they know there's been outbreaks? Do they know how dangerous they are? I don't know.
It reminds me of we can put a wrap on this. It reminds me of in the GK Nova Intel drops where there was all the stuff on like IG Farben. I guess maybe I'm really conflating the history here where people, I don't know if people realize exactly like, God, were they doing the gas and that was going to the, oh man, I brought it up and now I've realized I've forgotten most of it. But anyways, it reminded me of maybe IG Farben, if that's the correct company from the Intel, where there's some information publicly, but you don't know everything that's going on in the backstage, in the behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's something that I would like to see. And maybe it would explain why live ammunition was also brought to the set.
Right. Yeah, I think I don't want to make him seem like a villain that's corrupted by the ether. I like the idea that he's just like this ultimate artist that wants to make the perfect movie.
I mean, it could also be too that like, yeah, maybe he just stumbled across the information, maybe like you said, through some connections or some indirect channel, and didn't entirely buy it, but was kind of interested in it, and like he kind of just came more from that artistic angle, like, oh, this is kind of cool.
Right.
Yeah, because I wouldn't want to see him as a villain. I think it would just be kind of fun.
Right.
It's like, going to film at like what was it? I forget what famous movie, Exorcist or whatever, but they went to like an actual like haunted site. So it could be something like that, where they're like, oh yeah, we can go here.
Be a cool way to honor him, make him important to the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what other threads we got?
All right, so mine, we'll call it, suppose we could call it number 3, is it's not so much a dropped thread in the sense that it, there are a lot of like critical questions around it, in the sense that I think of, like Monty Shadowman, like that seems like a real big picture, type of question. Like mine is, I want it expanded on the real experiments that we know about in Riese, and then maybe tack on some Nova experiments in there. I don't know if I want it to be like a remake of either of Riese, or like some sort of transition map almost that could help us explain like Kino, like connect the two even better. Not that that it's going to be in between, because we know they teleported from one to the other. But I guess probably a Riese remake. But anyway, I want to see Steiner in there. I want to see Kurt Blom, because we know he's on the poster. I want to see Maxis somewhere in there. I think it would be so fun to have, just like have it all connected, maybe with the fly trap, the teleporters, the Vril spacecraft on the boards, like just really like tell us a whole different side of Riese that we didn't even know.
Well, question: how would you feel about another zombies comic series, but based around like events at Riese? Because that's not something you can put in like a first-person shooter, but the comics, that'd be pretty dope. Maybe just like a spy's point of view in Group 935, like Peter's point of view, just at Riese, and he sees all this stuff going on. He meets Blom, he meets Steiner.
That would be fun. That could be fun. Oh man, I can feel it. It's coming.
Just give me something cool.
Right.
What about like I mean, that this would probably take more than just a comic series, but like a animated short or something that could be used as like marketing material. Because that's the only thing is, like, I love the comics and the supplemental material, but it's always like lost. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's you really have to go out of your way. So it'd be neat if they did it as like an animated short or something. Obviously that'd take more time and effort, but kind of to promote and get you excited for the.
There's people on YouTube that I remember used to make like those pretty good looking short films. Like they would get like costumes and stuff. I'd want something like that, but with like actual budget. I mean, just a short film.
Yeah, right.
So I mean, it wouldn't involve too much action.
Those
It'd be
so
mostly
fun.
Just stuff in the like Riese.
And you always sort of, I guess, to play up the horror angle. because of one for practical effects too, but the zombies are kind of like in the background, so you don't really have to worry about doing things like too high budget. Like, maybe like you don't actually see them, or it could be like before the outbreak. But
So
I think,
here's a quick. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
nah, that's pretty much what I was gonna say. I still feel like I'd go for animated short because think you could do more, but yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. I don't know. I love the comics for the art form that they are, but there's just something to me about, I don't know, about the old way of making a map or doing a a cinematic to put it together, and that was,
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe see,
usually,
this is where I want to combine my map then with right after you play this and it gives you a whole explanation of the new side of Derice is like the Derice massacre. Like boom, there you go. Like there's like 2 in 1 right there.
well, you just reminded me. For the Chaos story, they had that supplemental cinematic with the introduction to the cult.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
like you could just have like a little short like that and just use it as a teaser. So you're kind of you kill 2, I guess, zombie birds or whatever with 1 stone.
Yeah, they should have put their campaign cutscene budget into that. More stuff like that.
I like that. All right. Who the heck has number 4?
I
Gersh.
guess, yeah, that's probably an important one. All right,
Gersh
you
and
go with
Ultimis.
Gersh. You take Gersh.
Yeah, I mean, well, Gersh. So okay, there's that poster from Ascension with Gersh instead of Richtofen. It's probably supposed to be Richtofen, but Lundell decided to just say it wasn't, and then later it was confirmed to be Gersh because Gersh is some bold man that was fighting with Ultimis. So now we have to
Disgusting.
deal with that. So it's like obviously that's probably an alternate timeline. But I was thinking like maybe that could be part of like the campaign timeline, and maybe it's like because we know the campaign timeline, instead of Earth blowing up in 2025, it keeps going on. Events of Black Ops 3 and 4 campaign. So maybe like the breaking point is somewhere at Ascension. Richtofen goes his own way, Ultimus goes their own way with Gersh, and the Earth doesn't get blown up. And you could, I mean, just imagine like a whole set of maps, just alternate
Dude,
set of events.
that could be a great fracture, just
Yeah.
follow. That's
Right.
so that's one of the beauties I like about
Fracture's
I do like about the fact they did the multiverse is right. You can keep it in the Aether story and just explain, and just like it's almost like not that I know much about Assassin's Creed, but I just think about how they like go back to like just so many different eras just randomly. I don't know how they do it, but it just reminds me of that. Like you could just go anywhere you want at any time and make a map and like make it make sense in the multiverse.
Yeah, I think that there's so much potential.
Exactly. I love media that's just like this is an alternate history. It's an alternate timeline version of this. They do that a lot in Star Trek, but it'd be so cool to see that in zombies, which is kind of what fractures are. But I'd like a whole set of maps within a fracture.
And maybe they still could be connected through some loose thread or whatever, like, I don't know, there's some artifact or whatever that's in that fractured universe that maybe the Easter egg revolves around, like, bumping it to the main universe, but the overall, like, aesthetic and story can just be something that's completely different than what we've seen. So yeah, I think that's a... I don't know who's...
You could also tie the Gersh thing into, that loading screen from the comics with, I would say Primus, except for Richtofen, which is Ultimus Richtofen. So maybe Ultimus Richtofen somehow met up with Primus. That's a whole other layer to the alternate timeline. For some reason, they go from Stalingrad to England. Yeah, there's lots of wacky adventures there.
So I feel like, what do you guys think is worthy of number 5? Because there's a couple things.
All right, let's... Okay, we can take a vote. I was gonna say, so there's so many options. We can never fit them all in. So I was gonna say maybe Group 601. I know we did a video on it, but maybe that one. What are you thinking, Matt?
See, 601 was on my mind. I don't know if it's too similar to Monty and the Shadowman, but my thing would have been like more information on the Dark Aether. That would have been my plot point.
I feel that.
I don't know. Rad, do you have one that you're going to try to contend for number 5?
No. Well, I mean, there's the
We could be the tiebreaker.
Chancellor.
Okay,
yeah,
tiebreaker. You can't be the tiebreaker.
We can do that one another one, but yeah, between those, Group 601 and Dark Aether, that's tough. How about we flip a coin? We'll flip a coin.
No.
We'll flip a coin live on podcast.
What?
I'll add some fanfare. Flipacoin.net.
You have to add cheering in the background.
Yeah, way, woohoo! All right, go. Wait, who's heads and who's tails?
I'll take tails.
Okay, here we go. And stop. Heads.
Wow.
You win.
Okay. So what I'm gonna do is what all of you viewers need to do right now is stop listening to this podcast.
Post in the comments which one you want to see.
Yeah. And then when you're done, go watch the Group 601 video, and then you're gonna come right back here, and what we're gonna do is talk about Matt's topic. Since we did a whole video on 601, we're not even going to go over it again. It's a beautiful topic.
Did I say heads? I meant tails.
Stop!
Yeah, we implore you to go watch all of the videos. So, Matt, take it away. What is it about the Dark Aether that just, what's the question you've got?
Well, the main thing is that everything was sort of banished to the Dark Aether at the end of Tag, but it. There's no real mention of the ether being destroyed, which just seems like they're setting it up for, this is going to be contained until break in case of when we need, Monty and the Shadowman and zombies and whatever to come back. So there's sort of that it wasn't destroyed. Second of all, I kind of like the idea that, is Monty like the embodiment of the Dark Aether? Because, if you look at like Greek mythology, you have places that are also sort of deities, like Tartarus and stuff like that. So, is Monty the Dark Aether? What is this place? Why does it corrupt people? Is it the source of all evil in the universe? What's the Dark Aether?
There's an idea.
Yeah, so that's what I want to go with.
Right. Well, is it literally a place like hell, or is it like just like a concept? What is it? Is it a subsection of the ether? The name makes it seem like it is, but I think it's supposed to be a whole separate plane of existence. Yeah, it's supposed to be like there's the thing that Pablo drew is like the top. That's where the keepers live. That's Agartha, and then there's us in the middle. See, below that Dark Aether.
That's where I kind of want to plug my idea that Monty is sort of the embodiment of the ether, and he's the corrupted side of it, and he's like his whole role is just like twisting creation since the beginning of time, because it's also like the way it's phrased in the Chronorium. It says like in the beginning there was the ether and the keepers, right? And then it says like among them is the Shadowman and Monty, and it makes it seem like one comes from each. So it'd be like the Shadowman was a keeper and like Monty would be from the ether. So that's what I always like to think, is that Monty might actually be like the source of all corruption in the universe, and he twisted the Apopticon, or the keepers into the Apopticons, and they want revenge. And that's it. And it's Satan versus aliens. But if not, I would just settle for what is the Dark Aether. Yeah, is it a place? Is it? Because everything was banished there, so it's not destroyed. We know it's not destroyed. Why are we going there? It just seems to me like they're just saving that until the next outbreak, which is
sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's a good idea. So I guess that's we can wrap that up for this podcast there, Toten. Maybe we'll do a second part with some more loose threads. Maybe, who knows?
Who knows? It's getting crazy out here, folks.
Mm-hmm. Post in the comments your favorite Fortnite dance, and hit dab on the like button. So
there it is.
See you guys next time.
And make sure you twerk on the retweet button.
Right.
Something
and
like
go
that.
watch that video on Group 601, the obscure reference nobody knows about. Yeah.
Yep, that should be up on the screen now. If it's not, Rad didn't do his job.
It's flashing. It's flashing right now. You can't. Well, you can't. I don't think you do annotations anymore, unfortunately. But it's in the description. Yeah, I don't know why, but
That's wild.
We're
Anyway.
really that out of touch.
no way. No
Our
way we're out of
understanding of
touch.
YouTube is like 20 years ago.
All right, goodbye.
Goodbye.